So, last week we explored states, how they move, how they shift, how we can move between them. Tonight we go somewhere quieter. If states move, what remains when nothing is being moved? We're not trying to silence the mind, we're not trying to stop thoughts. We're going to notice something most people never look at: the space between thoughts. So I invite you to get comfortable, have a fidget, have a stretch. Let your feet, your hands, your arms, your body settle. And take a deep breath in. Hold it and breathe out. Take another deep breath in. Hold it and breathe out. Take a third deep breath in. Hold it and breathe out. And you can just allow your eyes to close now. Just notice your breathing. No need to control it. Notice thoughts as they appear. No need to interfere with them, just notice thinking happening. Thoughts arise. Stay for a moment. And then they dissolve. Now begin to notice something very specific. I want you to begin to notice the end of a thought, not its content, but the ending. A thought appears. And then it stops. There is a tiny moment when one thought ends and the next has not yet begun. Don't try to create it. Just notice it. And now notice the beginning of the next thought. The moment before it forms. There is a subtle gathering, and then it becomes language, or image, or sensation. Between the end of one thought and the beginning of the next, there is a gap. The gap is usually very small, but it's always there. Now, instead of following thoughts, allow attention to rest in the space between them. You do not need to widen the gap, just notice it. Thoughts will continue, but between them there is openness. That openness does not speak. It does not comment. It does not move. You are not creating this space. It was already here. Even when thoughts are active, the space remains. Now notice something else. The gap is not a thing. It is simply the absence of mental movement. And something is aware of it. That awareness does not come and go. Thoughts come and go. States come and go. Even attention shifts. But awareness remains. Now, without losing this sense of space, notice your body, the chair, the bed, the room. Thoughts may resume at their usual pace, that's fine. But you now know something. Between thoughts, there is space. Between states, there is openness. And you do not need the mind to recognize that. So when you're ready, open your eyes. So tonight we did something very simple. And simple things are often missed because they do not feel dramatic. We did not attempt to silence the mind. We did not attempt to manufacture peace. We did not try to force insight. Instead, we examined something that's always present but rarely noticed. The end of a thought, the beginning of the next, and the space between them. Most people live inside the stream of thinking. They experience thoughts as continuous, as solid, as authoritative. Thoughts appear and it feels like truth. It feels like identity. It feels like me. But when you begin to observe carefully, you notice something very different. Thoughts are events. They arise, they linger briefly, they dissolve. And between them, there is a gap. And that gap's not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It does not glow or shimmer or carry any spiritual label. It is simply the absence of mental movement. And here is now the subtle shift. If you can notice the end of a thought and you can notice the beginning of the next, then something is present that is not identical to the thought itself. Because you cannot observe what you are completely fused with. So what's that mean? It means thoughts are happening within awareness. They're not the container, they are the content. And content changes. The voice in the head narrates, comments, judges, predicts. It can be helpful, it can be creative, it can be protective, but it can be repetitive and misleading. But tonight, you discover that it's not continuous. There are interruptions. And in those interruptions, there is something steady. We often assume that freedom would require eliminating unwanted thoughts, but elimination is not necessary. Recognition is enough. When you recognize that thoughts arise within a larger field of awareness, their authority softens. They are no longer commands, they are movements. This changes your relationship to anxiety. It changes your relationship to self-doubt. It changes your relationship to self-criticism. Not because those things disappear, but because they're seen as passing configurations. Last week we explored states. States shift. This week we went one level deeper. Thoughts shift. And beneath both of those movements, there is something that does not need to shift in order to be present. There's a meditation practice where you just lay back and watch the clouds go by in the sky. After a while, you realize that behind those clouds is that beautiful blue sky that never shifts, never changes. And beneath both of those movements, there's something that does not need to shift in order for it to be present. The gap is not something you create, it's something you notice. When it is noticed, something subtle happens. You're no longer fully entangled in the narrative. You're aware of the narrative. That awareness is quiet, does not compete, it does not argue, does not need to assert itself. It simply is. Is it mystical? Possibly. Is it structural? Yeah, it is a fact of experience that becomes obvious when attention becomes precise. The mind will continue to produce thoughts. States will continue to fluctuate as the tides of the ocean, but the recognition that there is space, even briefly, changes how tightly you grip them. You do not need to live in the gap. You do not need to maintain it. You simply need to know it's there. And once you know it's there, you cannot completely forget it. In daily life, you may begin to notice the end of a reactive thought, the pause before speaking, the moment before emotion turns into action. That pause is the same space, and in that pause there is choice. Not forced control, not suppression, but choice. Freedom is rarely dramatic. It is often a fraction of a second wide, but that fraction changes everything. Tonight was not about achieving silence. It was about discovering that silence is already woven between every moment of the mind. States come and go, thoughts come and go, the space remains. And recognizing that space is the beginning of a different relationship to experience.